I don't think that pro-life men care about unborn babies, and I don't think that pro-choice men care about women. I think they care about themselves and the women that they want to have sex with. And I don't really care for their need to appear virtuous to either of these parties. They are not really adding anything to the abortion debate when they're not acknowledging the fact that they care about, number one, them. And they're not, I'm kind of tired of everyone virtue signaling anyway, but like this is the latest thing that no one really talks about with how men virtue signal with abortion. They don't, men, if they really were worried more about abortion, they would be a little more worried pre-sex. And they're never worried pre-sex, are they? Women are worried in terms of evaluating who they're going to have sex with and when they're going to have sex, because they always have the looming fear of pregnancy hanging over them. They always have that risk and consequence that's very visceral. It's not just a vague idea in the abstract like it is for men. Men are able to live in a sense of presence and freedom and very much glibness about pregnancy because they don't have to deal with a being starting to grow in them because they had sex, and they don't have to deal with this decision of whether to keep a human being or to kill them. It's very much a huge, nuanced, multi-factor situation that a woman faces, and we always talk about this when it gets to the point of abortion, but let's talk about how the entire sexual dance is, most of the women that I know, there's a little bit of fear of it way before that, you know, and it's like that's minimized. There's this kind of idea that our culture says to us, which is get your needs met and have casual sex and have it with a lot of people and anytime you want. But the fact is that we minimize so much of the emotional anxiety that goes with that. We minimize how this is stressful to if you really are seeking to feel safe and comfort and trust in a relationship. There's a lot of normalization and minimization that. Why can't we address this aspect? Let's address it. For one, in general with arousal, women are aroused slow burn. So they're aroused in a long, gradual, from in to out, slow burn, foreplay heavy, mind to body way. So that's one reason why this kind of masculine catering to a man's sexuality, which is yang bang bam, that is fast and impatient and ready to go and push a button right. There's one main erogenous zone, hotspot, right? Women have, again, like I say, there's more of a buildup. There's a wax wane. It's not this. It's yin energy. So the courtship dance. Even the casual sex kind of posturing that women now have to do. We've had to do it for a while. I think we're coming out of the rationale of this, but we've had to kind of cater to. Oh, I also want to get my needs met, and I want them now, and I'm impatient, and I'm this, and I'm that. And so then by doing that, we're going against ourselves and not honoring really how we actually prefer to evaluate, have time to see if this partner is going to work for us. And we also like to have time before sex. So we like to have that because we have a looming consequence. We have that no matter what. There are many ways we can gloss over it, minimize, rationalize, and pretend that it's not a big deal. And oh, I want my needs met. Okay, that's great. We've already heard that point of view for the past 20 years. But the reason that we're in a situation where people are very unsatisfied with intimacy, with relationships, and with the sex that they do have is because there's just this strange idea to pretend like it's not a big deal. It is a big deal. It has a consequence of making life. So it's a huge deal. Also, it's on a like spiritual level, it's got a huge, there's exchange of energy that shouldn't just be this kind of like, oh, of course they're just a vessel, or of course they're just a tool, that I'm like reducing people to that kind of objectification instead of, I mean, if you really feel that way, it's pretty easy to get, it's pretty easy to just get vibrators and dildos and less consequences. So if you're going to pretend like you need to have that, just acknowledge that it's an actual human being, not just a warm body. And it is, yeah, they're making you feel good, but yeah, this is a sacred exchange. This is intense. There's going to be oxytocin released with you, so you're going to feel more love for them after, even if initially you thought of them as just a prop or object like you claim they are. And with men, they're going to release more testosterone after, so they're going to be they're not going to be as oxytocin fucked, as I say. But this is a serious act. There's a lot going on. That's why the emphasis on being in a loving, safe, and trustworthy dynamic is important. It's very important, and I'm tired of it being minimized. And I'm tired of the consequence of pregnancy being minimized up until the point when there actually is a baby that forms, and then that's when suddenly everybody cares. It's like, well, actually the full dance, we're worried about it. A woman is conscious of it the whole time. That's why being in this casual sex culture is extremely anxiety provoking, because you don't get to have that time to really assess the person and think about, is this a good person that I want to have a sudden situation of dealing with the abortion or pregnancy question with, because navigating that is already hard enough. And then if I'm in this with this person, what if they want me to have the kid, or what if they want me to get an abortion when I don't? Like, this is grave. This is serious. And anyway, so the looking at the nuance of men and how they look at this, they are thinking about themselves, and they do not have that looming consequence and risk that we do. And so could you men please consider how this impacts women, not just at that like climactic, like that's not the word, but at the moment of deciding, but also the entire courtship. This is a huge thing to talk about, and our casual sex culture tends to minimize so much about sex, and that's a shame. And I understand that there's a lot of people that are like, oh, well, I am more masculine and I do want this and that. And I'm like, I understand that. That's been the point of view that's been portrayed for like ad nauseum my entire life. So I'm very well acquainted with the woman who wants to get hers and wants to have as many partners as she wants, and that freedom. I'm well acquainted with that. That's been like drilled into me. I'm just trying to have a counter response to that conditioning, because I feel as though that is, again, normalizing and conditioning women who maybe don't feel that way. And because they don't, they think, well, I must be weird. I need to be more like, I need to cater to this kind of casual sex culture and be more, there's something wrong with me that I'm not feeling comfortable with it. No, you're just not feeling comfortable because there's been a steady stream of conditioning in all media, TV and movies and culture that have really told you that this is who you need to be. You don't have to be that way. Biologically and evolutionary, there are just facts about how you're aroused and how you prefer to have time to evaluate a partner and to evaluate when you want to have sex, because you have the consequence, and it is your every right within you to start to advocate for yourself in that way. Because again, the pro-life men don't actually care about babies. They care about the women that they want to have sex with, and they like a certain type of woman. The pro-choice men who are claiming that they only care about women, they only care about themselves. And them in this conversation makes things murky, because I think that there's a lot of catering to masculinity anyway, that we don't really need to have them posturing about how much they are virtuous in the middle of it all. We've got enough of that. We just don't need that. Anyway, hope this was compelling.